So the idea is that the universe is expanding in all different directions, and then when it crosses into other dimensions too, it's probably expanding into, however that works, in all the different directions possible too, because the fourth dimension gets a little bit more complicated, as well as fifth, sixth, seventh, and if you're someone who just believes the universe is infinite and believes that there's an infinite number of dimensions, well, that's just to kind of wrap it up right there, but the idea is that at some point the universe expands into another dimension. But, well, first of all, think of it like this. The universe is expanding at 19.3. I think I put it down as 19.2. It was rounded down to a million kilometers per second. Or it's really just 12 million miles because, for example, you take 1 mile and that's 1.6 kilometers. So you essentially just take 12 million and then you just convert it, just times that by 1.6, and that's how I got it. And or if you really want another way of looking at it, 1 mile is 5,280 feet, if you want to go by that. I mean, I just do as much information as I can find and just talk about different lengths. I don't just limit myself to one thing. I just talk about all of it in general because, the more knowledge you have, the better you can make sense of this stuff. So, I mean, that's just how fast it's expanding at least, and the idea, and this is even more interesting, the universe is expanding a lot faster. The farther it goes out, the faster it gets. So it's it's crazy. So you could take a line, a straight line that's 12 million miles, let's just say hypothetically, and you could think, okay, that is already by itself per second, a big line. How much space, how many planets could you put in that? I mean, you could put 12 million in the Earth. You're essentially traveling I don't know how many Earths that would be. You'd have to take in diameter how big the Earth is and divide that by 12 million. Well, put 12 million and then divide by the Earth. I think it's 7,900 and I think it was 17.5 miles. So you would just take that and divide that, and that's the Earth's diameter. And you just you got this, you all these Earths next to each other, and then that just keeps going on and on and on. And then you can just draw a circumference. I mean, the universe is just this. It's too big. It's just, you could say it's infinite. You could say all these infinite dimensions, like I said, and it's just crazy. How big is the universe really? What's its current shape? What's its it's just all these basic questions that you really want an answer to because you learn these things. The universe is just it's everywhere. It's wow, man, so many things we don't know. Just the thing, you think of it like this though. You take a scientist, for example, studies one thing, and then by the time that scientist comes to one conclusion, there's so many other things that have came into existence during that time that now there's even more stuff. So you could take the ratio of studying one thing, and then the ratio of that same time that passes by, now you got even more stuff. So for every one thing you have a bunch of other stuff to explore. And it's so the universe, everything truly is infinite, because no human being is ever going to be able to study everything within their time period versus seeing all these different stars and galaxies. And as technology gets better, heck, even when technology gets better, we'll be able to fly around with Star Trek style, the Enterprise and all that, and just see what's out there. Oh man, all these different planets that exist, and people will just go there and they'll just look around. They'll get on their ship, they'll look around, and they'll be like, wow, man, what happened here? You know what I mean? All these things we don't know. But I'll tell you one thing that is guaranteed, though. The answers are beyond this planet. So in order to understand the universe, one must first understand it for what it really is. And, that would be another mystery, but, the universe is it's made up of dark matter, mostly dark matter. I think, or was it dark energy? That's more common. Either way, dark energy and dark matter are 90% of all of existence. It's the most common thing in existence, and that we know of, at least. So, man, that's crazy. It really is. And here's something else that's really interesting. I mean, this is another topic for another time, but if you go outside and you look at the stars, for example, how it's really dark out there. Scientists have stated that the texture of dark matter, when you look up at the sky and you see it dark out there, it's really pitch black and it's no light, again, the stars aren't there, but let's say there's no clouds either, and you see all these stars out there, or just look past it, you'll see that it's just pitch black. Well, apparently the universe is even darker then we can see it on Earth. So like, for example, so someone who looks up at the sky now, you could say, oh yeah, that's very pitch black, but it's even more pitch black than if we were to just go like out in space where there's no light shining. Like literally, you couldn't even see like where you're standing. It's that dark, literally. And the reason why is because dark matter and dark energy don't mix with light. At least not in its... again, I'm not a scientist, but from the information that I understand, at least, it's supposed to be like, that's why, like, you'll find like light in space, like again plasma, which is the stars, and it's like you think about like, okay, the sun or gamma rays. I mean, there are bright objects in space, but they don't mix with dark matter for some strange reason, or at least not the way we've been studying it. So it's like if we were to really figure out what dark matter really is, and I mean, I'm sure somebody will figure it out because it's only a matter of time, you really got to ask yourself, though, what's really going on around us? Is everything made of the same material that dark matter and dark energy is? It's an answer. It's a question that begs an answer. It really does. In the world of science, it's like, it's really interesting. The more you know, the more you want to know. So the more you learn, the more you try to take that knowledge and really turn it into something, And it really gives you hope that life doesn't always have to be negative. It can be a positive thing too. Just the fact that like you look around this planet and it's like there could be species that have existed that have gone extinct. There could be even more people that study the evolutionary line and study, hey, this is really awesome. What happened? Where did this plant come from? Where did this tree come from? Where did this human come from? Where did this, all these animals that we just don't even look at? And it's like, wow, man, that's really cool, actually. I think the one thing that really got me the best, what really gets me the best, is that everything could technically be considered a living organism based off its molecule structure. Again, if you study, is it microbiology? Yeah, microbiology. And macrobiology, you study big things, macro and micro. But microbiology, because, you're talking about, like, really microscopic stuff. I mean, if you don't believe me, go look up like some of the smallest stuff that people have ever discovered. It'll just blow your mind at like how small something is. It literally proves that everything is infinite. It seems like, because how small is something? Just when you think you found something small, it's like something else makes that up, and then you just look. It keeps going on and on. And it's like you think of it like this. You guys remember like the cartoons where they would take a picture and then they would have that same picture inside that picture inside that picture. You know what I mean? Like it's like an optical illusion, but it's like an infinite optical illusion. Like they have. There was an episode of SpongeBob. I know this sounds like weird, but this is like the best one I can think of. That I remember at least, where they had a picture of like when SpongeBob got his boating license. There was Mrs. Puff was standing at the door and she had a picture of her standing at the door, and it was like the exact same thing. But if you look really hard enough, it was like there's a small picture, and in that picture there's a small picture, and then there's that. It's like it zooms in. It's like a 3D zooming in scale. And I kind of think of the universe kind of like the same way, sort of. It's like that you take a telescope, you look out at it, you see stars, planets. Obviously different ones because we're not. Earth is different than Venus and Mars, and But the idea is that there's other planets, and it just keeps going on and on and on, and everything's made up of the same thing, it seems like, but it evolved differently. Evolution is pretty much like everything evolves. Planets, stars, energy, everything's made of energy. The whole universe is energy. Even what's beyond the universe, if that even makes sense, because again, now you got like people that say that the universe itself is infinite, but there's an infinite number of universes out there, and like all these other cool things that maybe like what would happen if like two galaxies were to collide with each other? Then they just become one big galaxy. Now what would happen if two universes collided with each other, hypothetically? How would that work? You know what I mean? Two galaxies into one. Or I'm sorry, two universes into one. It's crazy, like all these things I wouldn't call it fantasy, but it just like it sounds like it at first. But then when you really like study more of science, and you really learn all these things, it's like, again, like take work like Carl Sagan, Stephen Hawking, so many scientists, just to name a few. But the idea is that they're there to remind us that the more we know, the better our lives get. And the more we know, the easier our lives get. And a lot of people don't realize that because they don't really truly understand how Like, not just important, but they don't understand, like, it's really that easy to figure these things out. We just have to put the time into it. And what you really, it's like a drug. It's like, or not a drug, but but it's like, it's addictive to just want to learn new things when you're on a roll. You look at these things and you're like, wow, man, how big is that? And then you, like take the sun, for example. Why is it that we can see the sun? You would never know that the sun's so far away, but it's because the sun's so big you can see it. But people would think, oh, maybe the sun's not that far away from the Earth. But then you beg to differ. It's like 1.3 million times bigger than the Earth, so you can see it. But at the same time, though, it's like the sun is 150 million kilometers away from the Earth. I don't know how many miles that is. I'd have to think. Again, take 150 million and divide that by 1.6. I think you'll get your answer then, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I should do it. But it's just crazy, though, and that's why I make these videos on YouTube, because, aside from video games and all that, but it's like I really like to just, you think about this, like all these different stars. What's going on over there? What's going on everywhere besides this planet? Why is the universe so big? Why do all these other planets exist? They can't just be left nothing. There has to be somewhere. Again, Carl Sagan said it best. Somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. Just everything in general. What do we not know? Somewhere out there, there's probably a party of aliens. Like if you've ever heard of, actually watched Daft Punk's. I'll just use this as an example, like Daft Punk's "One More Time" song. It was actually a music video that was it composed of the whole. I forget the name of the actual. It's called like Interstellar 777 or something like that. Or I'm not sure if there's a 6 in there somewhere. But the idea is that it's like a 45-minute video about these aliens that are like partying on a planet, and then all of a sudden, it's like an animation, a fantasy. It's really interesting, whoever came up with it. But the idea was that, like maybe somewhere out there there's a party, and like, they're just sitting there like jamming to their music and all that. And I just started making that joke to people, like maybe somewhere out there's a party full of aliens and they're listening to music, and I'm not there because we're on this planet and they're way out there somewhere. But you never know. Maybe even Star Trek, maybe even Star Wars is real somehow. Like, out there's probably civilizations that are traveling across the universe somehow, and they're trying to figure out where they're at, and and it's just like, man, it sounds like a fantasy. But when you really think about how big the universe is, it just seems like anything is possible. You're gonna find things that even humans have yet to even dream of that are probably out there. Even realities. It's mind-blowing is what it is. How big is the universe? What does the universe consist of? What does it all mean? Some people say that they don't think that everything happens for a reason. But if you can believe that science can explain everything, but maybe it's just too soon that we don't have that direct answer. But in the words of Carl Sagan, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known, and and just like Carl Sagan even once said, in order to, this is kind of funny when you really think about it, but it's true though, and now I'll explain why. He says, if you want to make an apple pie, you must first make the universe or something like that. And what he meant by that was, in order for us to exist, the universe had to exist. So you look at all these things, because you got the planet Earth. Somehow the planet Earth was created, but before the planet Earth was created, they had to have been a galaxy in the Milky Way, so that was formed somehow. And then you have the solar system, so that way we, all these things had to happen before we got to where we were. So you go back in time and you figure out there was a universe, then there was a galaxy, then there was the solar system, and then there was a planet. Makes sense. And then there was a human race. The human race evolved. Even though there was many other things that happened simultaneously, but that's just to make it. But you get what I'm saying. In order to answer a question, you have to have an answer, and that answer has to be direct and accurate in order to really enjoy what we do. So, the way I look at it, I can never get bored making videos about this stuff. I really can't. So if you enjoy watching me talk and want to hear some interesting things that just maybe will blow your mind as far as the universe goes, believe me, give me your time and I will make that happen.